In this Lachesis part 2 video, we'll first try to understand the doctrine of signature of ophidia group in general in relation to the Lachesis in particular. We also try to understand Lachesis constitution, Lachesis few of the mental states, and how to differentiate from other drugs. This is the main core of this Lachesis part 2 video. It is very important to know the doctrine of signature and personality. It is very easy to understand the personality. It is very easy to remember also. For example, snakes has got many of the characters which resembles the personality when the drug has been proved. For example, snakes are mostly nocturnal reptiles, especially poisonous snakes will come mostly to hunt at the night time. Similarly, we see the Lachesis is a drug. They are very active at night. They are very sluggish in the morning. Active whole night without any weakness. They will be very cheerful. They will talk more towards the evening and night. That is very characteristic and very interesting to know also. Similarly, we have seen that many of the snakes are considered as a god in some religion. It is treated as a god and is worshipped. Many of the Hindu religions, the god has been covered by a snake, maybe of Krishna, maybe of Shiva, where the snake will be there around the neck. I'm not going to speak about all that religious part, but when you interpret, Lachesis personality has got that delusion as if they are under superhuman control. They are above the human. There's a religiously person is maniacal behavior, religiously melancholic behavior. She feels that she can curse, she can swear. There is an anxiety, delirium religious, delusion religious. All these rubrics where Lachesis and ophidia group are covered. Among the many group of reptiles, the snakes had a secluded life. That means they never mingle with other reptiles. They are most of the time alone, oneself. Similarly, when you try to interpret homeopathically a doctrine of signature, a Lachesis or any other ophidia group of individuals are mostly wants to be alone. They have a desires to be alone or forsaken feeling. In the rubrics you can see company aversion to, fear of people, very secretive. This is how the interpretation, and it is found in the Lachesis personality also. They are most of the time they are very secretive. They doesn't want to be in group. Most of the snakes are very quick to move, not just on ground but also on the trees. They have got very flexible structures. You might have seen the snakes will move very fast. So homeopathic interpretation is delusions as if body is lighter than the air, delusion as if floating in the air, delusion of travels. So such individuals who feels very light, they feel they are floating in the air, they always wants to travel, like carcinosin, like phosphorus. Such individuals are usually comes to the category of ophidia and Lachesis too. Many snakes are very greedy and jealous. Snakes doesn't like another snakes. So homeopathic interpretations are jealousy. They have a desires to kill. They have a impulse to poison. They also feel that delusions that they are surrounded by enemies. They are most of the time quarrelism individuals. There is a saying that snakes are revengeful. Many of the elderly person in our home might have told us that don't kill the snake, don't trouble the snake. Once you trouble, you get multiple number of snakes come and disturb us. That was a saying. How much ever true or false, doesn't know. But when you interpret that, The snakes are mostly revengeful. The personalities which require ophidia or lachesis or any group of ophidia remedies are generally, they are very cruel. People who are malicious, you can see the rubrics. People who are hatred, people who are spiteful, people who are vindictive, people who play a dirty game on you. Such individuals are usually comes under ophidia and lachesis. You might have seen how the snakes attacks. Snakes will wait, and when the prey is near, it attacks very fast, very quick. You might have seen many of the snake catchers in many of the TV channels. You might have seen how fast their responses. Similarly, personalities of Lachesis are generally very quick. They are the people very quick to act. They are the people very quick to understand, quick to comprehend. Their memory is very active, and they are very often striking in their deeds. Snakes do not have feet, but still they move on. They have series of almost non-ending vertebrae, nearly around 400 in number. The snakes move by crawling, and it moves very fast. It can climb the trees, it can climb any height. If you see king cobra, it will stand almost more than our height. So even without limb, they can stand, they can move, certain snakes. Similarly, the homeopathic interpretations are people who feel they don't have the limb. You can think people who are paralyzed. You can think of clinical condition like hemiplegia, hemiparesis, or paraplegia, or quadriplegia, people who are crawl. You can think of such conditions. Or you can also think where the extremities, loss of sensation, or numbness and tingling. Or you can think of in disc prolapse, or spina bifida, or trembling of the lower limbs. All these things are the clinical indication and interpretation of the symptoms of the snake and in relation to the snake's behavior. You can see in this image just below the eye, that is called a sensory pit. Snakes have got well developed sensory pit. It can judge as far as 200 meters. You can imagine the snakes, we feel that snakes are not seeing us, but snakes can perceive it from a very far distance objects through their sensory pit. Snakes also protrude the tongue, through that also it can perceive. What we are going to interpret from that, the people who are clairvoyant, people who are professing, people who feel that something going to happen, whatever they feel it is going to happen, such individual, they have one intuition that something is going to happen. They dream clairvoyant. So we have to compare phosphorus also, another group of remedies, and ophidia in general has this feature of clairvoyance. Most of the snakes, when they bite, it is very often poisonous snakes. So you can interpret that they have the fear that they got poisoned. They have a delusion as if they have been going to poison, delusion as if they are going to kill. Person also has a impulse to kill other, impulse to poison others. Both at the level of mentals, at the level of physicals, they have that mind setup. It has been found that snakes are unable to judge the opposite gender. For example, when the snakes are about to mate, a male snake is unable to judge the female snakes. Female snakes is unable to judge the male snakes. Very often when they try to mate, sometimes it is accidentally mate same gender. For example, male snake try to mate another male. Later on it's come to know that it is a male. So similarly, such abnormal sexual behaviors are usually covered by the ophidia group. For example, person who has got homosexual desires, people who are nymphomaniac, people who are lividness, people who have got sexual perversions like bestiality, sodomy, all such abnormal sexual behaviors and abnormal sexual passion is covered by ophidia group in general and Lachesis in particular. It is a known fact that snakes shred their skin, especially in the spring season. We might have seen sometimes some scales of snake skin will be there on the roadside, some in our paddy fields. So it has been interpreted the spring is the aggravation, especially the skin complaints. You can also think Lachesis and ophidia group of remedies, any exfoliative skin conditions like psoriasis, lichen planus, or exfoliative dermatitis. In such conditions, we can think ophidia group of remedies. Some of the most costliest alcohol is made from the snakes. You can see in this image a bottle where the snakes are kept and it has been fermented and the alcohol is made. And they get a better intoxication as compared to the other type of alcohol. Especially in China and in Western countries, people drink alcohol made from the snakes. Now it has been interpreted, some of the doctrinum feature of that, alcohol desires for. People who get complaints from the alcohol is an aggravation. Dipsomania, withdrawal symptoms of alcohol like delirium tremens. Mentally they behave as though they are intoxicated. They behave as though confused. All these things rubrics where ophidia group and Lachesis is covered. We know that most of the snakes doesn't come out in the hot places. They are extremely sensitive to warmth and heat. Very often they will be hiding in a shade or around the bush, or they'll remain underground in a deep burrows where it remains more cooler. Similarly, the ophidia group of individuals, they cannot tolerate heat. They get complaints from the sunlight. They get complaints from hot drinks. They get complaints from the warmth in general. There are 3 types of snake venoms. One is neurotoxin, second one is hemotoxin, and third one is myotoxins. When neurotoxin venom is been injected, maybe of cobra, when it get bitten, so more of it has got neurological manifestations like paralysis, weakness, then respiratory failure and cardiac failure and death. At the same time, when there is a hemotoxins venom is been bitten, then there is a more of local pathology that it will start bleeding, severe bleeding and hemolysis, and finally cardiac arrest and death can happen. Then myotoxin is again a muscular paralysis it will produces. Similarly, when the snake venom is bitten, the lower the affected part will be swollen. As you can see in the image, it will turn purple, it will turn blue, it will turn black, and after it has been venom has been removed by the cleaning and dressing, and most of the type, especially when the viper bite or hemotoxin variety of snake bite, usually leads to extensive ulcers. It will sometimes turn to gangrene, necrosis. Similarly, when we interpret in the homeopathic point of view, the affected part is discoloration, purplish look, bluish look, a bleeding tendency, and you can also think in clinical condition like non-healing ulcers, gangrenes, and also for paralysis. Some more characteristics of the snakes we might have observed. Mostly snakes will protrude their tongue outside. It is for the judgment, and it is also for perceiving the praise. So you can interpret as the people who always protrude the tongue. You might have seen some children always protruding the tongue outside. The person while talking is protruding the tongue. Every now and then they protrude the tongue. That is a unique characteristic of an individual. It is also interpreted that people who constantly speaking, who always talkative, it has been said that loquacity, which is a characteristic of ophidia group. And snakes, once it catches the prey, it will just gulp it. It will not chew, it will not make it peace, but it will just gulp and swallow. Homeopathic interpretation is difficulty in swallowing. Especially liquids are very difficult. Solids they can swallow easily. Appetite increased, that is also interpretation. Digestive power of the snake is very strong, especially you might have seen python. It can digest such a big animals, like whatever the things it swallows, it will digest in very fast. It has got very strong digestive enzymes, and they practically pass only pure uric acid, and often they are highly offensive. Their urine is offensive, their stool is offensive. Similarly, the ophidia group of individuals, their all discharges are offensive. Maybe of sweat, maybe of urine, maybe of menses, maybe of stool, maybe the flatus, everything is offensive. This is all some of the doctrine of signature of ophidia group, and in particularly I am speaking in relation to Lachesis. Understanding the mind of Lachesis is so vast, it is so lengthier, and don't know where to start and where to end. For easy understanding of Lachesis mind, I have divided the mind into certain headings. The headings are there in front of you. The first one is the snakes in movement, selfness of the snakes, religiousness and snakes, snakes in relation to its vision, snakes in relation to its tongue, snakes in relation to its camouflage behavior, snakes in relation to its quickness of action, snakes in relation to sexuality and behaviors, snakes in relation to hungry. So these are the main points, and we'll discuss each one detailed. Lachesis will describe Lachesis personality, Lachesis mind in relation to the point. The first point we said is the snake in movement. Flow is intrinsic to the snake, and this is equally true to the Lachesis person. They have a problem when the movement is stopped. As long as the movement is there, they don't have any problem. Whenever there is a obstruction to the flow of the movement, maybe at the level of mentals, maybe at the level of physicals, they have the problems. In any condition where suppression of the flow, for example, suppression of the menses, for example, suppression of the sweat, for example, suppression of the thoughts, leads to a lot of physical complaints, maybe at the level of emotionals, maybe at the level of intellectual, maybe at the level of physiological, the Lachesis may be indicated. A typical example is the cessation of the menstrual flow, or she has a problem. All the problems started at the time of menopause, a time of life frequently calling for use of Lachesis. Likewise, the appearance of the menstrual flow in a Lachesis person will signal the relief of premenstrual symptoms and bring a feeling of well-being. Generally, they are feeling better as long as they get menses. Their mental problems, their frustrations, their suppressions, everything is better as long as the flow is there. When there is an obstruction in the flow, there is an obstruction in the movement, the obstruction of the thoughts, they have the problem. Dr. Kent described Lachesis as a selfness or a self-centered person. Nothing stands out more boldly than self-consciousness, the self-conceit, the envy, the hatred, the revenge, and the cruelty of the man. Everything is mainly because the person is very selfish, the person is only thinks about himself, he is not bothered about the others. Because of this nature is there in the Lachesis, they have a problem. Because they are very selfish, so they have that problem of hatred, they have a problem of envy, they have a problem of revenge, they have a problem of cruelty. All these are expressions of their self-centeredness. They are very jealous without any reason. They have a unwarranted jealous and a suspicion out of this jealousy, out of this self-centeredness. Many times this is a medicine has cured many of the people who have got suspicious behaviors. The moment the person is very suspicious, we think some group of remedies, and Lachesis is one of the greatest remedy for suspiciousness. We have other remedies, Lacaninum. We have other remedies, Anacardium. We have other remedies, Apis mellifica. A woman imagines that her friends, or woman imagines that her husband, and a mother imagines that her children are trying to damage her, that her friends are going to put her in insane asylum. This is all her imagination. She imagines that her relatives are trying to poison her, and she refuses to take medicine, and she refuses to eat anything because she's more of selfish. She's more of self-centered. All because of this basic nature of Lachesis, which expressed in various mental states like hatred, like envy, like revenge, like cruelty, like jealous, like suspicious, all mainly because of their selfish nature. Religiousness and snakes. We all know that snakes are worshipped as a god in Hindu religion. Similarly, a Lachesis person, he or she feels that she is like a god. She is under some supernatural power. She feels that she is got directly linked to God. She feels that she is somebody else. She is more stronger than others. She thinks that she is under some superhuman control. She is compelled to do, and she will tell others that God told me to do like this. No, that is a kind of religious behavior in Lachesis personality. It's a kind of mania, religious mania. She'll compel to do cursing, she will do swearing, she'll start punishing, she'll start abusing, she'll tell that God, I am a God. She hears a command that she feels that she can see a God, she can talk to God. Maybe she is partly doing in her dream that she must carry out. Sometimes it takes a form of she hears voices in which she is commanding to steal, she is commanding to do murder, or she is commanding to do confess things. Such kind of delusionals, hallucinations and illusion are more of psychiatric behaviors where she feels that she is like a god, she has got direct link to God, and she'll curse, she'll swear, and every now and then she'll curse and she'll punish, and that will go to extreme state of mania, that is called religious mania, religious insanity. There is no peace of mind until she confesses. She is full of wickedness and she feels that she has committed some unpardonable sin. At the same time, she feels that she has done something wrong and she wants to confess. This is a typical religious mania of a Lachesis personality. She'll be always praying like stramonium. You have to compare stramonium, which comes very close to the Lachesis. Lachesis personality in relation to vision. You might have seen the snakes, once it raises its wood, it will remain like that. It's always alert. It doesn't have eyelids, but it has got a never sleeping eye. Ever watchful, always alert, which interpreted, and you see in Lachesis personalities, they are the people who are mistrustful, always remain alert, always a defensive, always a suspicious nature. A temperament develops because of this. They develop a jealous, they develop a possessive, and they develop finally a paranoid state. A person who is always alert, person who is always defense, The love of Lachesis, whether it is for the family or whether it's for the friends or it is in relation to the sexual relationship, it is always a constricting and possessive love. They always keep an eye on their partner. They always keep an eye on the people. They always keep an eye on the people who are around them. Because of this nature of Lachesis personalities, who always keep an eye on their partners, who always keep an eye on their siblings, who keep an eye on the around the people, they have possessiveness. They will develop jealousness. This jealous can become a extreme level to a obsessive behaviors, and finally that becomes to a malignant behaviors. Possessiveness, jealous, mistrustful, suspicious. They cannot relax their mind, always watching their partner, always alert for signs of infidelity, always a narrow-minded person, always imagining also. It is not only just keeping an eye, they also try to imagine that their partners or their relatives or their relations are doing something wrong. Often their jealous remain unspoken. They kept within themselves and finally leading to a physical problem. Because they are very alert, they keep an eye on their people, they keep an eye on the surroundings, they keep an eye on the person whom she loved. And it is unspoken, it is unexpressed and leading to a complaints like headaches, complaints like high blood pressure, complaints like menstrual pains, complaints like excessive menstrual flow, complaints like asthma. So basically they are the people who are very possessive. They have a strong vision on others, just like a snake. A jealousy in Lachesis may turn love into a hate. The person who loves the most, the person who is very jealous, and at the same time the person may love him. At the same time the person may hate also. And sometimes it may lead to a violence and finally a tragedy if it is combined with alcohol. You can imagine a person who is very much possessive, who loves the most, at the same time jealousy and suspicious overpower that, and the same love person she'll start hating. If it is associated with alcohol, it is associated with possessiveness, it is go to extent of paranoid behavior. Snake always protrude the tongue outside. It is a bifid tongue. You have a two end when the tongue is been protruded outside. Snakes will protrude the tongue outside mainly for sensing purpose. Similarly, a personality whom required Lachesis, most of the time they protrude their tongue outside. The child always put the tongue outside. The person every time while talking will protrude the tongue outside. It becomes an habit for this personality. The person who always non-stop talker, they always wants to talk, and their tensions, frustrations and worries are almost relieved by talking. Whenever their talking is obstructed, they have a problem. It is a relieving factor for Lachesis, but at the same time it is a disturbance for others. The person will start with one word and jump from that another word, and each word leads to a big story. Talkative is often a vent for repressed emotions or suppressed desires. Even to the suppressed sexual desires are expressed in the form of talkativeness. More the suppression, more the talkativeness. It has been said that loquacity. And what I do when the person who talks so much, it is very difficult for us to manage in the practice. We cannot sit and listen so lengthy story of Lachesis personality when there are so many people are waiting outside. So best thing is, once you know this person has got a Lachesis behavior, once you are sure, it is better to stop them talking. Otherwise it's very difficult to stop. You just open their mouth and put a torch and tie a BP apparatus and examine the BP, and finally they stop. This is what I follow in my practice. They have got a rare linguistic skills. Often Lachesis personalities are multilinguistic. They can speak almost all the languages. They can speak Malayalam, they can speak Tamil, they can speak Telugu, they can speak Marathi, Gujarati, they can speak all the languages. They can grasp the things very fast. They can pick the language very fast. They are highly articulate with a wonderful gift of oratory. They are often extremely gifted with this creative ideas of talking, and they are imaginative with poetry writing, or they are very good in spoken English. Suppression of continuous accelerated speech leading to a problem. Very often they jump from one topic to another like a thyrotoxic, like a maniacal talk. They speak sometimes loudly and they speak so much fast. The content is so much, the volume of the speech is so much, it is very difficult for others to adjust. And it is very difficult for her to maintain an orderly thought process. Many of their menopausal time, when they have a problem, they are expressed in the form of talkativeness. When they have got a problem in the family, when they have got a problem with the husband, she'll start talking so much. This is how you can understand why the Lachesis are more loquacious. Snakes and camouflage. We know that sepia is a camouflage. It will change their color as per the surrounding. So snakes also a reptile which is also a camouflage in their behaviors. The snakes will change the color as per the surroundings so that prey will totally unaware, and these snakes can attack and eat that. The bushmaster snake is been called as a master of camouflage. It is sit and wait predator, using its cryptic coloring to deceive and ambush its prey. Just like this behavior of the snakes, the Lachesis personality also like a snaky personality. They are the people who cheat others. These are the people not a trustworthy person. You cannot trustworthy a Lachesis personality. They try to fool you. They try to cheat you. They are the people who are cunning, like our Tarantula personality. People who are very cunning and very foxy. They put a deceptive mask. They act in front of that they are not doing anything. They are very friendly, but at the same time in the behind they do all such nonsense things. They are not what they are seems to be. They are not like what you look to them. They are outside they look something and inside they are totally different. They are sneaky, they are cunning, they are deceptive, they are cheaters. Especially snakes are a creature of night. This personality, Lachesis personality, they are very active at night. Maybe of reading, maybe of writing, maybe of studying, or even enjoying stimulating conversation, particularly about philosophy and religions. They become more active at the night. The writing skills, reading skills, and then philosophical talk or religious talks more at the night. The mind is extraordinarily active and clear at night and towards the evening and night. They become unduly vivacious and talkative at night. And because of that, they find difficulty to sleep at night. Because the mind is very active at the night, they are unable to sleep. Spending hours at the mercy of their overactive minds. That's all about the Lachesis personality in relation to the night and snake and camouflage. We'll describe Lachesis personality based on this heading of quickness and snakes. The theme of quickness in Lachesis personality, it is not only at the level of emotional level or mental level, it's also seen in their physical levels. The snakes are very quick to attack. The snakes are very quick to gulp the things. The snakes are very quick to bite. Similarly, Lachesis personalities, they are very quick. They are the people who are very active. They are the people who are very hurried. Like Mercurius, like Epaself. They are very fast and quick, like Phosphorus. Everything, whatever they do fast, like Arsenic Alb. They are always alert. And they are highly perceptive. You tell little thing, they understand. They grasp fast. They comprehend very easily. Their mind is so quick, they can understand very faster and faster. The irritability and impatience and anxiety usually associated with their hurriedness. They can comprehend the new concept, even which is they are not studied, even that is beyond their academics, they are beyond their experience, but still they understand with very easily. They speak also very fast. They speak also very quick. They speak. Often the Lachesis mind can be very fast for the others. The Lachesis is so fast, others cannot cope up with them. The sometimes flow of thoughts are so much fast, they are overlapping. And because of the thoughts and the speech is so fast, often they leads to trembling. Often they leads to tremors. Often they leads to stammering. Many of the modern authors, and including Kent, who described main problem of Lachesis because of suppression of sexual behavior. Kent described Lachesis is highly lascivious person. When they make love, they are very passionate, vivacious, result in ecstasy and result in relaxation. As long as they have in sexual relation, they are relaxed. The moment their sexual relation is been suppressed, leading to a problem. Adolescents, they are vibrate with sexual energy. They always wants to experience sexual feelings. As early as in the teenage, as early as even in the childhood, they want to experience. The child always hold the genitals. A small child will hold the genitals. That is a key indication of Lachesis. The child will try to masturbate. The teenagers wants to experience of sexual relations. They are full of sexual energy. When the sexual outlet is obstructed, maybe because of family, maybe because of belief, maybe because of society, they develop into a physical and psychological tension in Lachesis personality. As a married woman, when her sexual feelings are being suppressed, when her partner is not interested in her, when partner doesn't show any sexual interest, she get frustrated, she end up in tears, she get anger, she become hysterical, and she'll start talking so much and she become loquacious. When the sexual tension is raised, she becomes more hurried in her thoughts, she becomes more hurried in her speech, she becomes more hurried in her action. At the same time, if a Lachesis person is a man, it's less likely to affect him, because very often whenever his sexual tension has been raised, he will start masturbating. This is how the sexual tension in a Lachesis personality. Snakes is one of the symbol of sex. Many times person who get a dreams of snakes, it has been psychologically attributed that they had a unpleasant sexual life or they had a very bad sexual life. Snakes are very aggressive in their sexual behaviors. Snakes' sexual behaviors last for hours together. Similarly, a personality of Lachesis, they are hypersexual in their behaviors. They are very excessive in their sexual energy. People who are very lascivious, people who are very livid, people who are obscenity. One of the main remedy for masturbation, people who have the habit of masturbating, like fluoric acid, like phosphoric acid, like staphysagria, like selenium. Very often they are overstimulated in the sexual plane. Whenever their sexual feelings are suppressed, whenever their sexual outflow is suppressed, they end up in somatic problems, they end up in mental problems. Emotions are quite strong. They are quite attached to the people. They are quite attached to the object. Their attachment and possessiveness is so strong, it is mainly because they like them sexually also, in relation to the relationship. That will go to a pathological condition and they start behaving jealous, they start behaving rude, they start hating her when their sexual pleasure is not satisfied. They are the people who are self-centered. They'll try to masturbate. They want to experience the sexual pleasure. And it is not only just normal sexual behavior, they also are prone for abnormal sexual behaviors like homosexual, sodomy, bestiality, sexual perversions. All abnormal sexual behaviors are indicated for the Lachesis personality. Hunger and snake. Lachesis personalities are most of the time they are hungry for experience. They want to experience. They maybe wants to experience the music. They maybe wants to experience the dance. They maybe wants to experience the alcohol. They maybe wants to experience the sexuals. They want to experience the drug. They want to experience the stimulants. They just want to see what is that. They may not be so much continuing in that, but they have that curiosities. They have the hungry for knowing what is music, what is dance, what is alcohol, what is sex, what is drug, and what is stimulants. They just want to experience, they just want to feel that. They are very jealous in relation to the sexual relations. There may be a romantic jealousy. It may be unrealistic. It will most of the time spoil the relationship of Lachesis personality. They get angry sudden, a very intense anger, very furious, very malicious, especially before menses. They doesn't like any restrictions. They doesn't like any restriction from the parents. They doesn't like any restriction from the friends. They just want to experience. They are least bothered. They have that boldness. They have that courageousness. But at the same time, they have that fear at the end that they have been poisoned. They feel that someone has put some poison in their food. That leads to a palpitation. They start always suspicious in their behavior. They feel that heart is going to stop. They feel that heart has been suspended. All these things are the few of the mental state of Lachesis. Lachesis as a child. There is no much difference in the mind of Lachesis in the adult and child. It's almost remain the same. Child is very fast. Child is very quick in learning everything. Child will be loquacious. Child wants to experience everything. Child is hypersexual. The child will start masturbating. A small 3-month or 6-month-old child will hold the genitals. A parents will tell doctor, my child is holding the genitals. Child wants to experience everything. Child will imitate others. Child will perceive what others are doing. Child is full of spite, desire to hurt others. This child is always destroying others. This child is always hurting other persons. Child Child is very hyperactive, very restless. Child is very quick. Very often this child has got a jealous of siblings. Child doesn't like his or her brothers, his or her sisters. Especially after the new baby has come, this child is very jealousy. Child get a very bad dreams. Child will get up very often in the night with the nightmares. Child get a snake's dreams. Many times some of the clinical conditions like ADHD or autistic child may require Lachesis. Child is very cruel. Sometimes child will have antisocial behaviors. Child try to harm others. Child try to destroy the things. And child is very revengeful. All these behavioral changes where Lachesis is indicated. Now we'll describe Lachesis or a snake based on the word yes. You can see there are so many yes letters. The first one is spiteful. The meaning spiteful is the Lachesis personalities, they hurt others, they annoy others, very often they offend others. That's why they've been described as a spiteful person. Second S is a sarcastic. Lachesis personalities, sarcastic means they mock at others, they criticize others. Sardonic. Lachesis persons make a face grimacing. A sardonic means a grimacing, a making faces. It's a kind of mocking only. Scathing, which means severely criticizing. Lachesis persons who criticize so much, they criticize others to extreme kind. They are unkind personals. Satirical, which means making fun others. Lachesis persons, they make fun others. Slanderous, that means they are the one who tells lies. Lachesis people are telling false. They are the people who are malicious. Skeptical, that means a doubtful. The Lachesis personalities are always a doubtful personality. They are the person who is not easily get convinced. Superstitious, you all know, I need not explain. That is an unscientific belief. Sanctimonious, that means they feel that they are superior to the others. Lachesis personality have that feeling. Self-righteous, they feel whatever they are doing is a right. They are totally correct. They are morally right. That type of behavior. Suspicious, I need not explain. Secretive, I need not explain. Sultry, that means a strong sexual nature. Sexual and seductive. And one more word where the S is not there, a psychic, where the P is silent. So Lachesis people are a psychic kind of person.